Hello and welcome to EVE Online and our first video about this wonderful, huge, in-depth, elaborate, beautiful game. In this video we are going to look at a character who has just finished his career missions, which is something every player should do, whether you're new, you're creating a new alt, or you're returning to the game. You end up with about 9 million ISK in money and a few ships and a few pieces of equipment. That's what you start your game off with. Now I'm going to take this in a very specific and direct direction, just really to demonstrate to you guys what you can do in lowsec very early on in your game, what you can try to get away with, what you can learn, and how you can make some very nice ISK. Now when I've been using this alt, I've been staying in the NPC corp chat, and there really is this terror of lowsec in that if you go in you're just going to die. Don't bother, don't try, or you might go in once, lose one ship, and there you go. What can you do about that? I'm not doing that again. Now, full disclosure, even before I started recording, I lost my very first ship on the very first asteroid belt I landed in lowsec. It was a very cheap fit Merlin that I'd actually built as soon as I could to really power through those career missions. This ship did every mission, I think, apart from the ones where you had to haul something a bit bigger. It mined, it killed, it did it very quickly, certainly much quicker than the ships that they give you. We'll look at how to power through the career missions another day. But anyway, yeah, land into lowsec, first asteroid belt. This guy turns up here in his killer Tristan, which is a mega PvP frigate, and he killed me. So I just went and got another ship and came back, kept out of his way. But there you go, we'll look at that when I'm in the system. These two losses here, they're the Atrons you have to lose in the missions. They're kind of suicide missions, they're out of your hands. So I've lost one frigate in PvP before I made a dime, but I was prepared for this. I built myself, out of the 9 million ISK, 2 of these beautiful Merlins. Now they're not built to maximize the output of damage, they're not built to be as good as potentially they could be. But I'm limited by my skills and I'm limited by my funds, or I certainly, you know, at that point you are. So I built 2 1.1 million ISK Merlins. Right, and this Merlin here is fitted with 3 limited light ion blasters. They're nice and cheap and they get the job done. They're very close range. The optimal range is 790 meters. The fall off range is where you start losing damage dramatically, and really you want to stay within that range to apply any damage, is under 3,000 meters. We have an afterburner, so we can get close enough to apply damage quickly. We have a medium shield extender to give us our shield tank, which you will see serves us very well. We have a status web of fire. This is to slow the targets down, particularly the frigates and the destroyers, so we can hit them easier. We have an adapted invulnerability field to give us our resistances boost on our shields. We have a magnetic field stabilizer 1 to give us some more damage from our guns. A damage control 1, which again ups our shield resistances and armor resistances, just makes the ship generally tougher. And we have the micro auxiliary power core, which is essential on this build because you can see we only have 0.8 power grid left. And that's because we're running these guns and the shield extender. Over in the rigs we have an empty slot which I haven't decided what to put in yet. At the moment we've got one small core defense field extender, which again gives us more shield hit points. It's the most expensive module on the ship, and I would say it's kind of optional at this stage if you're very tight of money. You'll see how the tank performs once we're out and about. And then we've got the anti-thermal screen reinforcer, because the rats we are going to be facing in this area of space are going to be mostly dealing kinetic and thermal damage. So that is just to boost our shield resistance over here for thermal up to 57%. We've already got 54% kinetic resistance anyway. EM, I'm not worried about this filling this hole. Quite often people have put an EM reinforcer in here. If I get into PvP, my 2 tactics are to run or to die, because I'm not here at this stage in these ships to get into PvP. So I will put something in here at some stage. It could be something to up the tank, but I think we've got more than enough. Ideally I want to put something in here that's going to boost the damage of the guns, either by increasing their base damage or their rate of fire. that is going to increase the amount of power that they need, which is going to take us over here. So I'm going to need to think about that a little bit. Skill training or implants, etc. We're going to look at in another video, as I said, at the details of fitting ships, what all these numbers mean, how you can get more CPU, power grid, or use less, etc., etc. So anyway, this costs 1.1 million. There we are. I've got 2 of those. They're very cheap. We'll see how quickly they pay for ourselves. That is a key part of what I'm trying to illustrate here. Fly these ships, how quickly do they pay for themselves? At which point, in my mind, they become disposable, in that if you lose them, you don't need to stress. You know you can just go and get another one and you can carry on doing it. Over time, we will upgrade the ship. We will move on to other ships. We will do what we're going to do quicker and more effectively. But for now, this is the Merlin that we have. Having bought the 2 Merlins, so that was 2.2 million spent out of our sort of 9 million startup cash, I built one of these, a 2.2 million ISK Cormorant, which is a destroyer. Basically, this ship, we've got slightly better ion guns fitted to it. It gives it a slightly increased optimal range of up to 1600 meters. A little bit more of an issue on a Cormorant rather than a Merlin, because it's a bit of a slower, clumsier ship in general. So it, you know, the fact it can shoot a little bit further away and hit, it's not going to necessarily go around your target quite as nicely as the Merlin will, especially when you use the Microwarpdrive, which is used on this ship again to get it into the range where it can hit the targets as soon as possible, underrun their guns, and that's is really what is going to minimize the damage. The tank we've got is only about 20% more than the Merlins. We've only got about another 1100 hit points there, so it's not a lot. The increase is in the DPS. We have now got 7 guns fitted. We've basically doubled our DPS. We've got the Vortex compact magnetic field stabilizer down here because we could afford one of those. We've put a little bit more money into this ship. We've got the auxiliary power core, which again is essential to run all these guns, and the shield extender. This slot at the moment is empty. It's going to get a Weber when I've got one. One of the things we're going to find when we're ratting through lowsec is we actually find quite a lot of useful modules for our fits, which can be very good early game. I've already found some Microwarp drives that cost about $450,000 as compared to the one we got fitted here, which cost 66. So the upgrades, you know, see what you can find before you spend your money. I've done exactly the same thing with the rigs on this build. It's just got the thermal reinforcer and the extender on one empty slot for pretty much the same reason, although I've got a little bit more leeway on the power grid here than I did on the Merlin. So the idea is the Merlin is the scout ship. It's faster, it's harder to catch than the Cormorant. So when we go and scout out some systems or a low-sec pocket, we're going to go in the Merlin first, see what we can find. If we think we can get away with it, we're going to take in the Cormorant, which isn't sort of easy to catch at a gate camp, but it's certainly easier. And then if we need the extra DPS, we've got some nice big fat rats that need killing. This is going to do it quicker. And how long you're in the low-sec system ratting is what determines how long the guys in there that might want to kill you have to find you and to kill you. So the quicker you can do what you need to do and get out, the better. And that is our basic tactic with these ships, is to get onto the asteroid belts, close on the rats as quickly as possible, kill them as quickly as possible with the heavy DPS weapons. You'll notice these are actually damaged. We'll talk about that more later. I need to repair the ship. I shall do that now. I shall right click. I'll go to repair quote. This basically, you overheat your guns to up their rate of fire. I did that to kill a battleship quicker than I would have if I hadn't done so. So there you go, they're repaired. This ship is all now shiny and new and ready to go. So this is the one we're going to really use as our working ratting ship, but the Merlins are the scout ships. They're the ones we're going to use to get the loot in and out of the more dangerous places. We can also fit a warp core stabilizer onto a Merlin in its third low slot instead of the damage control. Make it a little bit harder to catch if you really want to. But there you go. So these are the 2 ships we are going to start ratting in low-sec with. The Merlins go in first, the Cormorant goes in afterwards, and we shall see how we get on. So here we come. We're landing on an asteroid belt. first thing I've spotted here is that somebody's left a Tech-2 drone behind, and they're worth 400,000 to 500,000 each, so we're going to go and scoop him up for sure. And we're going to take care of these 2 destroyers rats at the same time. Now these guys are actually going to probably put more damage onto us than most of the other rats we're going to find, but that's okay, we're going to manage it fine. Just look at the shield bar, we never have any problems. I'm clunking around a bit here because I'm trying to scoop the drone and engage the catalysts at the same time, and I actually target the wrong one. One of the beauties of this build and the Cormorant's build, especially for a less experienced player who in lowsec is going to be looking at their D-scan, checking their local, and not want much more else to worry about. This build, you can leave the guns running. You are wasting ammo, but it's cheap, but you've got no capacitor issues with that. You've got a passive shield tank, which as you will see is more than enough. I haven't even put the invulnerability field on. I don't know if it needs to go on this fit. Certainly PvP you probably would, but we'll see. More tank is better than not enough tank, definitely. And we're having no problems taking these guys down. I'm hitting my D-scan now and again. There are keyboard shortcuts for many functions in this game, and learning them saves you a lot of time. I'm using the cursor really so that guys can follow along with a bit more of what I'm doing. So they're dead. We're going to get back into range to loot them. You've got to be within 2,500 meters to get the loot out of the wrecks. Nothing absolutely fantastic, but useful, and it's stuff. And every engagement is practice, especially when you've got a new ship. You need to get used to where to put your ship, the range of your weapons. I actually approached a little bit quickly there, so you need to know when to turn off your afterburner to get into your tight radius as quick as possible. And here, same sweep through the same system, we've come across a battleship in our Merlin. First one I found in this ship, so I'm interested to see quite how this goes. We've got about 86 DPS. Luckily the system's pretty quiet. I'm keeping an eye on my D-scan. I'm keeping an eye to see if anyone else comes into local. I'm going to go in, get this engaged as quickly as possible. We're going to get close to the battleship. You will see he simply won't be able to hit me. The frigate started firing at me, but he's not really getting any good contact because I've got a good speed and he's just flown past me. And the battleship will open up quite soon. There you go. He can't hit me. I'm just too fast and too close now. So we're going to get into our orbit. I've come in a little bit quick and I've swung out a little bit far, but I'm going to put the guns on anyway. As I say, they'll start applying as soon as they can. The afterburner's off, we don't need that, and we'll just sit here and take down this battleship. It's going to take a while. Exactly how long we shall see. Now I've scouted out this system, as I said, and it's valuable time spent. The more you know about a system that you're going to spend a little bit of time in, the better. You will find areas where you're sort of off the D-scan for the rest of the system, so nobody can see you. And you can see quite clearly when somebody is coming near you. You'll find safe spots that you want to make yourself, although I don't usually make a safe spot when I'm going in the system. I'll bounce around the planets, bounce around whatever I can, just to make myself impossible to track. So this is about 7 minutes later, maybe nearly 8, and we've burnt our way through this Serpentis Baron. It's a 500,000 ISK bounty for this battleship, and they usually drop about 400 to 500,000 ISKs worth of loot at the same time. So let's have a look what we've got today. And there you go, 414,000, we'll take all that. Oh, we've swung out of pickup range again. We'll go back and get it. I'm not going to kill the frigate. There's a good reason for that, which I'll elaborate on when we get into some more advanced rat farming techniques, maybe in another video. There are different ways to belt rat that will encourage or discourage particular spawns, and yeah, but that's the high end. We won't worry about that. I found another Baron on the very next belt, and I've gone and got the Cormorant because I'm not spending another 8 minutes going round and round the ship. It feels too much like mining to me. In fact, I guess that's what it is. It's all the same thing, really. Miners, it's not really my cup of tea, but I do it. And again, the game would not operate without the miners. So everybody in this game is as valuable as any other player as far as I'm concerned. And there you go, that's taken us about half the time. We got twice the DPS, it's taken us half the time. About 4 minutes there to kill that one. Again, same bounty, same kind of level of loot. 1 million each-ish.
Warp-drive active.
And that's paid for, what, another Cormorant or 2 more Merlins, those 2 battleships. And that's really the way I look at the economic balance of the game. We're still in the Cormorant, we're now in a 0.3 system, and we found a Serpentis Commodore, which is a slightly tougher version of the battleship. Although the bounty is the same, it sometimes drops better loot. And if you get into PvP, especially aggressive, naughty, piracy type PvP, you might come and belt rat just to kill these guys to get your security status back down, so you don't have the police chasing you. But anyway, I'm not worried about the frigates. They're going to be the ones that put the damage on me, but it's never going to be a problem. I've actually just bounced off of the battleship there, which I guess is one way of reducing your speed to get into your orbit. So microwarpdrive off, guns on, round and round we go. And as you can see, we've got down to nearly 50% shield. All of that damage has come off the frigates, but it's not a problem. Obviously, if you're low on shield and you do get jumped, it's not the best position to be in, but I'm feeling at the moment with the D-scanning that I'm kind of okay, but you can never be too careful. So there you go. That's worth about another 1 million, that battleship. So we're doing quite well. Tengu on me D-scan and combat scanner probes. Right, I am now, as far as I can tell, I'm being actively hunted. But whatever they're doing to find me, I've done to somebody else. I kind of know what's going on. It's going to take a little while for them to use those probes to locate me. I'm surprised they're using probes. I'm on an asteroid belt. I'm not exactly hard to find with a D-scan. But that's the way they've chosen to do it. I'm going to keep an eye out now. I'm going to stay here. I'm kind of pushing my luck deliberately. I like to see what I can get away with sometimes. So we're going to grab the loot that is non-existent. And we're going to keep an eye on things. They're going to be scanning me. I've probably got a minute if they're going down that route. If they pull those probes and they disappear off that D-scanner, then I know they're probably coming to get me. If they may leave the probes out and come and get me, I'm still confident that if a Tengu lands on me, I can get away. The danger is that he's going to find where I am and maybe launch a frigate at me, reship himself, or get with a mate. But we'll see. But if a Tengu comes onto my overview, I'm pretty confident this Cormorant is going to be well out of the way. In fact, why hang around any longer? We're done here.
Warp-drive active.
We'll just head off, get the loot stashed in a station. Ah, there you go. The combat probes have gone. Tengu incoming. There you go. You missed me. Sorry, mate. He wouldn't have caught me. If I was ready to warp when he landed on my overview, I'm confident I would have got away there. So we're heading in again. Let's see what we find. We're going to move straight over to the second system because this one seems quite busy. We've got a cruiser, an Ashimu on D-scan, and I believe that's one of the new abyssal destroyers, Kikamura. We'll have a little look. Let's have a look at his info. Oh yeah, probably don't want to run into him. It's quite a new ship. You can only get these ships and the equipment for them by going and doing PvE sites. So again, it's the way the game needs everybody to be doing what they do. You do high-end PvE, you're contributing to me fitting my ships. We've got a Nemesis on the gate. We've landed on a Nemesis, which is a stealth bomber that can cloak. So that's not good. That guy's got such a low security status. He's flagged as red, which does help you spot him. We got a Gamur on this side of the gate, but he's just jumped through.
Warp-drive active.
Right, so, and the Nemesis has come back, and I'm assuming he's come back after me. I was a little bit lucky there. They're not going to be keen to engage me in those ships in frigates by the gates, because the gate guns will start on them, although you can get in and get a tackle. I've gone off onto the belts. We've now got a Sleep now, which is a battle cruiser, a command battle cruiser, a very expensive ship on the D-scan. The Nemesis seems to have disappeared. So maybe he was on his way to do something else and I was just a little distraction. The Gamur I've not seen any more of. There you go. Sleeping has landed on me.
Warp drive active.
I will get away. He's over here, right over on the left-hand side of the screen. The advantage of me burning over to where the rats are is that when other ships warp into the asteroid belt, they're going to have to close that distance on me to at least some extent to get me scrambled and get me unable to warp away. If you land on a belt and the rats are right there, it kind of saves you that burn time, but it does mean that if anyone comes to find you, you're going to land, they're going to land right on you. Here, I've landed on somebody else in a Vexor Navy issue. I'm just going to warp away. I'm not even messing with that. Can be a very powerful ship. I'm certainly going nowhere near it in a Cormorant. You never know, you can get lucky sometimes with ships that aren't fitted very well. But he's probably got friends around. And what are we going to find now? We've got an NPC mining fleet on the D-scan. We'll talk about those in another video. They can be quite fun to play with. We've landed on a clone soldier. Now this is kind of the top rat. And we're in the point 3 system. And we're going to burn into this guy. Now these clone soldiers, they can do a lot of damage. So I'm being very careful. Although I want to close my range as quickly as possible, I'm outside the range of his guns at the moment, so there's no issue. I'm going to burn in towards him, but I'm not going to fly straight towards him at any stage, because if he can apply damage to me, and flying straight at him makes that easiest, he will take chunks. And you can see he's hitting me hard. I took about this much damage the whole time I was killing that Commodore. He's already put it, but now I'm in close, he's going to have a lot more trouble hitting me. And now I'm going to be okay. And once I settle into my orbit, get the guns on him, keep an eye on the D-scan, etc, etc, I'll be absolutely fine. And my shields will actually start regenerating now anyway, as they naturally do. That's the other advantage, slightly a shield over armor, is that you have to repair armor. Shield, if you're quietly in space, or you just dock at a station, it's fully recharged. So there's the rat. It's a cruiser, a 4-ax by the look of it. The rat's bounty is about 1 million, and we'll see what he's got inside. That's the good bit. It's taking a little bit of time. Thank heavens we're here in the Cormorant. You will now see that I'm into the clone soldier's armor. He's going to start repairing. And the Merlin probably wouldn't be able to deal with this rat at all. He'd out-rep my DPS. So I'd give up, and he probably could have done quite nasty damage to me on the way in if I was unlucky too. So I'm glad I'm in the Cormorant here. But we'll get there. We're keeping an eye on things. Seems quiet again. They're either all out here playing and hunting, or they're not. They're AFK, and you get that a lot. Some people leave alts logged in pretty much 24/7. So just because there's someone in local doesn't necessarily mean there's someone in local, and it's your recon and your intel that is going to, over time, give you confidence to know maybe what's going on around you and how nervous you need to be. So we're getting there. Lovely graphics, I hope you appreciate them. For years I played Eve on a laptop, and it was kind of cartoon level graphics. When I finally upgraded to a better computer, I had no idea there was writing on the ships and stuff like that. I lost a couple of ships looking at the beautiful sun and the beautiful stars. But there we go. The Cormorant is almost truly armor. The hull will go down very quickly. We're in nice and close. The other advantage of using these close range high DPS weapons is you don't then have to go and get the loot from the ships when you've killed them. You could use long range builds, and that's called ranged kiting. You shoot them from far. They can't hit you because you're orbiting them, and you might be quite quick. But then when they're dead, you've then got to fly over and get the loot. So it's kind of which way around you want to do it, I guess. I do also find that burning in close gets you away from that warping point, and there you go, 3 million ISK tag. Lovely. In a 0.4 system next door, if we got a clone soldier, the tag would be worth about 1.5 million. Okay, and it's on with the show really. Again, the system's quite quiet. The guy that killed me before is here, but he seems to be doing his kind of AFK thing. The other guy in local, I've checked his kill board. He does kill. He's got friends, so we're going to be a little bit careful. We've landed on 2 destroyers, 2 frigates. Sorry, 1 destroyer, 3 frigates. In terms of fighting these and taking damage, it's probably one of the trickiest spawns you're going to find in lowsec. Now we've also got a Shadow Serpentis rat here. They are a higher bounty, not excessive. I think he's about 125,000. They drop faction loot. In this case, it's not very good. It's some ammo and a shield hardener. You can get Tech 2 implants. You can get some very good stuff if you find a Shadow Serpentis rat. So always make a point of killing them. Even out in a high-sec system, a 0.8, we killed a belt rat and it dropped a 32 million faction mining upgrade. So yeah, if you see Shadow Serpentis, even if you're out mining, kill them. Could be good. But yeah, it's these little ships that are going to get really around me and close to me and start putting some damage on. As you can see, they're about a third of the way through my shield. The Clone Soldier, which is the toughest rat we're going to find out here, didn't get much further in, and they're going to keep on doing it till they're all dead. So I'm keeping an eye. We've got a Gnosis up on the D-scan. He's not going to catch me though. It's going to be similar to the Tengu. I'm a bit fortunate that apart from the Tristan that landed on me and caught me and killed me, I've mostly been hunted in bigger ships. And in a frigate or a destroyer, as long as you're aware and half ready, there you go, we're away. He's landed as we're warping out. He's not going to catch me, even if he got more landed. By the time he can operate his scrambler or his disruptor and target me, I'm probably going to have warped away anyway, unless he's built to tackle quickly. That's always can happen. I'm going to just bounce around onto another belt here. I know he's going to stay on my D-scan. I'm having a little play. I'm pretty confident that this guy is not going to catch me. So why not have some fun? And sometimes being hunted can be just as much fun as hunting, in my experience. So there you go. He's on me again. Bye-bye. And as I say, these kind of things, I've spent a lot of time in lowsec. You'll build the confidence and the knowledge, and I'll show you how maybe in a few more videos of how you can help yourself with recon and intel and numerous web browsers to really know what you can do, how to push your luck. It can be fun. Come into lowsec in a cheap ship and just muck about. You can troll the campers. You might lose your ship in the end, but so what? You've had some content, and that is what this game is all about. And as you can see down in the bottom left of the screen, I've put a little message. The Gnosis followed me in and got back on my D-scan. So there you go. A little bit of chatter between pilots. And it really is nice to communicate with people. And here we are into another little area of space. This is always worth a good poke around where you are. Where we've located ourselves in the sort of high-sec space, we've got 3 or 4 low-sec pockets and areas for us to go and investigate. And here's another one here, into Decon, which is gate camped, and he's just killed somebody by the look of it, so hopefully he's very busy doing that now. The fact he's there solo camping and he's just killed a frigate means that cruiser there, the Ashimu, probably is built to tackle and kill very quickly. If you're in a position to fight them, they probably haven't got much of a tank, but that's a story for another day. Right, so we're just going to come out onto the belt. The chances of him coming after me are pretty minimal. So we've got on with our ratting. Again, I'm just really out to kill everything. And the reason I'm killing these small rats, the bounties aren't great. As we've seen, the loot is more useful than it is value, but you do get lucky. And the frequency of your luck is the variation you will have to deal with, as with any other part of this game. This spawn, you can do a mission one time, and you'll get 10 times the loot you did another time you run the mission. That's just the way this game plays. And I like it. Now we've got some activity out here. It's all drones, salvage drones. There's probably people out on sites. There's a bit of an event going on. So nothing good out of him. The Weber slows down the rat so you can apply the damage better. Again, I'm being very clumsy with this. I'm really concentrating on my D-scan and not getting caught. So the fact that I can just leave the guns running, I don't have to worry about repairing. Just all makes everything else easier. And what have you got? Not much at all. Ion blaster, that can go on another fit. But we'll keep going. We're safe. And when you're new, you know, all this time you're de-scanning and you're not dying, you are learning. And when you lose a ship, you learn. Everything I've learned about how to fly, you know, in any dangerous place, you basically learn the lesson by losing a ship, which is why you definitely fly cheap. And there you go, we've got a 1.2 million ISK mod there. That is a Merlin paid for from one rat. They drop reasonably frequently, those ones. As I say, it's up to you. You may prefer to steam around, find the bigger rats and just concentrate on those. You may want to kill everything. I'll leave that up to you. But there you go, that's how I've started up this character's little low-sec adventure. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Leave us a like if you've liked it, or a dislike if you disliked it. I'm not bothered. In the next episode, we'll see what we can get when we get a low-sec system to ourselves for an hour. But for now, thanks for watching, take care and fly safe.